There are warnings that come dressed as wisdom, and there are young hearts that hear wisdom and call it jealousy. Aróke was the most beautiful girl in her village, and she knew it. Not in the quiet way that beauty sometimes sits on a person, like morning light on still water. No, Aróke wore her beauty the way a warrior wears armor, deliberately, proudly, as a shield against anyone who might suggest she lower her standards. And her standards were very, very high. Every young man in the village had tried. The farmer's son with his strong hands and gentle eyes. The blacksmith's apprentice who could make iron sing. The chief's nephew who arrived with kola nuts and fine cloth and was sent away before he could finish his greeting. None of them are good enough, Aróke said. Her mother sighed. Her father shook his head. Her friends exchanged quiet glances that said everything words could not. But Aróke would not be moved. "When my husband comes," she said, "you will all understand." He came at the end of the dry season. Nobody knew where he was from. Nobody had seen him before. He arrived at the village market on a Tuesday afternoon, and the air around him seemed to change when he walked in, the way the sky changes just before something extraordinary happens. He was tall. He was graceful. His skin was smooth and dark and perfect. His clothes were richer than anything anyone in the village had ever worn. His teeth when he smiled were white and even. His voice when he spoke was deep and warm, like a river that has never known drought. His name, he said, was Aróke. He came to her father's compound the next morning with gifts that made the whole household gasp. Fabric from places nobody could name. Gold pieces that clinked like music. Palm wine so sweet it tasted like the sky before rain. Aróke's mother pulled her aside. "Daughter," she said quietly, "where does this man come from? Who are his people? A man with no history is like a river with no source." "You are jealous," Aróke said. "You have always wanted me to settle." "I want you to be safe," her mother said. Her friends noticed things. Small things that individually meant nothing, but together felt wrong. The way his smile never quite reached his eyes. The way he flinched when the village elder said a prayer. "Something is not right about that man," her closest friend said. "Something is not right about your husband either," Aróke replied. "And you married him." The wedding was the grandest the village had seen in a generation. The old women watched from their stools with eyes that had seen too much to be fooled by charm. They prayed quietly to every ancestor they could name. The journey to Aróke's home took 3 days. The first day the path was familiar. The second day the path changed. The trees grew stranger. The villages thinned. The third day there were no more villages, no more people, just a path winding through a forest that grew darker and quieter the deeper they went. Aróke told herself she was not afraid. She was afraid. The house, when it appeared, was large and impressive, but it had the quiet of a place that had never known laughter. And Aróke's family were strange in ways Aróke could not immediately name. Their movements were slightly wrong. Their eyes, when they caught hers, slid away too quickly. On the third night, she woke at a sound she could not name. The room was dark. She reached for her husband. Her hand found nothing where his shoulder should have been, nothing where his arm should have been, nothing where his chest should have been. She sat up. Beside her, where Aróke had lain, were bones, arranged neatly in the shape of a man. Bones and a skull, and nothing else. Aróke opened her mouth. No sound came. Then she ran. She ran through the house, which was darker than it had any right to be. She ran past the relatives who reached for her with hands that were no longer quite hands. Behind her, she heard a sound, low and hollow and deeply wrong. "Wife," it said. "Come back, wife." She ran faster. The forest tried to stop her. Branches reached, roots rose. But Aróke had grown up climbing trees and running barefoot on rocky ground, and her legs remembered what her comfortable years had almost made her forget. She ran all night. At dawn, she stumbled out of the forest and onto a path she recognized. a path that led, eventually, home. She arrived at her mother's compound with torn clothes and wild eyes, and no words for a long time. Her mother held her without asking questions. When the words finally came, her mother listened to all of them. "I know," her mother said. "I tried to tell you." "I know," Aróke said. "I know you did." The village heard the story. Some believed it. Some said it was the imagination of a girl who had been too proud. But the old women on their stools nodded slowly when they heard. They had known. They had prayed. Aróke never spoke of Adiolu again, but she listened after that when people who loved her tried to speak. And she looked, after that, not at the clothes a person wore, but at their eyes, at the way they treated those who could give them nothing. Beauty, she had learned, is the easiest thing to borrow. Character is the only thing that cannot be faked. Ojutio bari ina, ki fuowo kan si. The eye that has seen fire does not touch it again. Moral: wisdom whispered by those who love you is worth more than the most beautiful lie. True character cannot be borrowed, it must be grown. A Moonjar tale story, ancient stories, timeless wonder.